Magandang hapon sa'yo, Happy New Year.
Una kong tatanong si Joyce.
Sir, did the arrest of the Tiamson couple come as a surprise to you, or was this the one that you were mentioning last week?
It was a surprise because I did mention it.
Um, and how would the arrest impact on the peace talks?
Well, they've walked out to the CPP, NPA, and they've walked out to the peace talks, if you remember correctly. No? Does it have an impact? I don't think so. It really depends on their willingness to go back to the bargaining table.
But Choma Season said that they warned of more attacks, and they said that the arrest would.
The attacks have not ceased.
Mhm.
So, what are they saying? For them, it's business as usual, I guess.
And would you say that the arrest of the Tiamsons would bring us closer to stamping out the insurgency movement?
Either you have to deal with the root causes of the problem. And of course, that's why we're focused on empowering our people, especially in trying to move them out of poverty in the various interventions that we've been doing, from education to health, to livelihood, to housing, to disaster preparedness, and so on and so forth. Now, I believe it does deliver a serious blow. And it shows you also the competency of our security forces. Yung Mrs. Champson, I understand, escaped jail in 89, was set free in 94. And when they were arrested, the report that I read in the papers says talks of hand grenades and pistols being in their possession. Something which normally does not occupy the belongings of a peace negotiator. Right.
Thank you.
Thank you, Joyce. Ulit tanong. RG Cruz.
Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon.
Sir, on a different matter naman po, over the weekend there were reports that came out in the newspapers regarding ECOA finding of over at least $500 million in questionable PDAF disbursements now in the office of the President, I think through the Muslim Affairs Office. What is your action towards this?
First of all, we're clarifying with COA exactly, is it a finding or is it, they have a term called observation audit memorandum, which means there are certain questions and they await answers or replies from the concerned government entity. So that's the first step. Second step is even before we get their answer, I want to make sure exactly what went to whom, and why was it caused to the NCMF. Perhaps there's so many things actually in government that require my attention. For instance, over lunch we were talking about 7 different topics at the same time. Like NCMF, the primary issue has been number 1. If you remember, yung EO2 was questioned and eventually it went to the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court eventually remanded it to the Court of Appeals, and the previous chair was kept in her position even beyond her term.
Yeah.
Until the Supreme Court and the CA allowed us to do so. Okay, and upheld. Yung parang EO2 was upheld after the term had finished, the chair. Okay. Now, during that incumbency, and practically every year, there are issues with regards to the Hajj.
Yeah.
And that has been the primary focus whenever I think about the NCMF. They have been assisting also in the peace process. To be perfectly candid about it, there are so many functions embodied in their charter which I reviewed today. And I was not clearly aware or immediately aware that they were a conduit or an implementing agency for various PNAP projects. So I want to get as thorough knowledge as possible, and I've directed the concerned individuals, specifically the Executive Secretary, the Secretary of Budget and Management, and the Cabinet Secretary to submit to me a thorough report on this particular issue.
Sir, did you give a timetable for them or a deadline for them to come up with your report?
Well, I told them I need this as soon as possible, and I want it as thorough and as complete and as correct as possible.
Okay, thank you very much, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you, RG. Thank you, Mr. President. At maraming salamat sa makasama sa video. Magandang hapon po.